You have just tuned in another Ham Radio Perspectives YouTube video where we capture truth as best we can tell. That's why we call it Perspectives rather than Ham Radio Truth. But this is a fun topic, Tom. I've wanted to do this for a long time. Any type of rig that you look at, there are always going to be the iconic ones.
Right.
You know, the ones that everybody remembers. It may not be the best. They may not have been among the worst, but they're just icons that people kind of hold up and think about. Yeah, that's what that kind of rig was all about. And we're going to talk about HTs. Look at 10 iconic ham radio HTs of all time. Okay. And we picked these because they not only are remembered as iconic, but they had some kind of features that really sort of changed the game, so to speak. Like the IC 7300 did with cheap SDR type HF rigs recently. So here's the list of 10. Tom, you pick it up with number one.
Okay, number one is the Yaesu FT60R. You know, if there was a Hall of Fame for ham radios, particularly HTs, the Yaesu FT60R would be in the center of it. It was introduced in 2004. And, you know, remarkably, I mean, this is 22 years later, it's still in production. It's a dual band analog powerhouse. It's widely considered the most rugged, reliable, and bulletproof HT ever made. And what it features is an incredibly clean front end filter, meaning it resists being overloaded by, you know, strong nearby signals, and an intuitive interface that makes it a favorite about both beginners and, you know, emergency ERT response teams.
Yeah, so number two in HTs that are iconic, we think, is the Kenwood THD74A. THD74A. Ask any digital mode enthusiast to name the ultimate grail of HTs, and they're likely to point to this Kenwood. It's out of production, but it remains legendary. It seamlessly integrated dual band operations, true APRS, that's automatic packet reporting system, tracking, a built-in GPS, D-Star, digital voice, and an HF shortwave wideband receiver that could decode SSB, single sideband, and CW in unheard of feat for an HT. In its replacement, the Kenwood THD75A continues this amazing premium legacy.
All right. Number three is the ICOM IC2AT. I bought one of these, boy. I was so super impressed. I think I got this at the Wheaton Ham Fest, Quin. It cost me like $200 in 1980. And it was revolutionary when it hit the market it took the market by storm. I mean, it seemed like everybody had one. The thing was a brick. It weighed just under a pound with the battery, but it was the first fully synthesized 2-meter HT. You know, you didn't need any crystals. It was big and heavy by today's standards, but it packed a whole 1.5 watts output and a really good audio on both receive and transmit. It had a quality speaker, a large condenser mic, very sturdy case, and it felt like a commercial Motorola coming to the market. And get this, it had no surface-mounted components. Yeah. And it was actually repairable. There was no CTCSS codes or decode built into it. The tuning on it, you know, it was all thumb wheels on the top. You just kind of like dialed in your frequency. And I remember using one of these in the Chicago area with only 1.5 watts and a rubber ducky, Quin. You could hit virtually every repeater in Chicago.
Yeah, third party came out with some encoder for the CTCSS, but I think you could only put one tone in it at a time, and you had to open it up and change it. It was not very flexible, but everybody had one of these, Thomas, back in the day. I mean, it was phenomenal. I think if we were to come up with one really iconic of all these that we're talking about, this would be the one. At any rate, number 4, the Yaesu VX8DR, the ultimate tactical multi-band trail radio. Now we talk about trail radios, you know. It was a quad bander, 6 meters, 2 meters, 1.25 meters, and 70 centimeters, wrapped in a fully submersible, at least they claim that, I didn't try it, rugged chassis. It boasted an incredibly robust native APRS interface with an optional bolt onto a GPS module. Hams who love outdoor operations and back county traveling still actively hunt for this discounted gem if you can find one on the used market.
Right. Number 5, here's another ICOM, the ICW32A. And this is stepping back into the late 1990s. The ICOM ICW32A was a masterpiece of classic analog engineering. And its defining feature was true independent dual receive with dual volume and squelch knobs. You could listen to and operate on 2 bands completely simultaneously. It also excelled at working amateur satellites in full duplex mode, transmit on one band and listen to your own downlink on the other.
Yeah, great feature. Number 6 in these iconic HTs is a company you might not expect us to hit on, but it's the Anytone company, the Anytone AT-D878UV11 Plus, if that's the way you say it. Not so great at numbering these things, but this is the undisputed king of the DMR digital mobile radio handheld world. The Anytone 878 series brought DMR into the mainstream for hams who found commercial digital radios too difficult to program, and that still remains a problem for some of the companies. Boasting massive memory limits, capable of holding over 500,000 digital contacts. Built-in GPS, Bluetooth support, excellent battery life. It remains the standard bearer for digital roaming. Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, number 7, it seems like I'm getting all the icons today, is the ICOM ID52A is the premier flagship for the D-Star users. The ID52A is a modern marvel. It features a stunning bright color display, integrated GPS, and a wideband receiver that captures civil and military aviation bands. It also includes Bluetooth capabilities that allow operators to wirelessly transfer photos, link directly to Android or iOS devices for advanced digital mode operations.
Yeah, wonderful. It's so neat to see some of this stuff being integrated the way it is, Tom. I just love it. Number 8 in the iconic HTs, we put the standard C528A. For hams active in the late 80s and early 90s, standard amateur radio, which was later absorbed by Yaesu, represented top shelf luxury. And the C528A dual bander was highly advanced for its time, offering true twin receive capabilities, cross-band repeating, and how shall we call this, a uniquely futuristic premium build quality that made it a kind of a status symbol for its looks among operators at hamfests.
Okay. And that brings us to number 9, the Yaesu VX6R. If you want a radio that can survive being dropped down a rocky hillside and submerged in a mud puddle, you look at the Yaesu VX6R. It's a heavy-duty submersible tri-bander. That's 2 meters, 1.25 meters, 70 centimeters, wrapped up in a compact pocket-sized magnesium case. It strips away complex features like APRS or digital modes to focus entirely on pure, uninterrupted analog survivability.
Yeah, so it's meant to do one thing and to do it well, and it doesn't have all the features that you might like. Hey, for number 10, gang, you're all wondering what we've left out. We've left a lot of stuff out, but for number 10, we've picked another Kenwood F6A, the Kenwood THF6A, an absolute marvel of a compact packaging from the 2000s. It was a true tri-band HT again. It managed to fit a secondary, completely independent wideband receiver spanning 0.1 to 1300 megahertz. Yeah, you heard me right, 0.1 to 1300 megahertz.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with this thing, it's something else. Into a remarkably small footprint. It could decode AM, FM, CW, sideband signals, essentially giving hams a full kind of shortwave listening post, we used to call that could clip right onto a belt loop. And a little small, with my arthritic fingers, a little difficult to operate, but truly a winner. So how long can the Japanese manufacturers, even if a rig is only partly made in Japan, hang in there against the Chinese radios that are coming on? You know, we haven't covered a lot of Chinese radios, but they're getting more fully featured. They're better built. They're easier to program. It's going to be a very vibrant marketplace and potentially competitive cost. In the past, the difference in HT cost between, let's say, the Japanese radios, even if they weren't all made just in Japan, and the Chinese ones has been significant. We'll see what happens. But this has been our adventure through what we consider to be 10 iconic HTs. But we'd like to hear from you. Tell us what you think, your experiences with them or others, some that you think we should have included that we didn't. Seriously, let's have some fun with this. This is Ham Radio Perspectives. We would love to have you as a subscriber to the channel. Please subscribe down below, hit the dinger bell, and put some comments down below. I'm Quin, K8QS.
And I'm Tom, WA9TDD.
73, everybody.